Just what's so funny, pal? Well, that took the look of stiff seriousness on the face of this office's finest prosecutor, as he makes a huge mistake in accusing me is simply too much to bear. And there's just nothing else like it in the world. What? Mr. Edgeworth just explained it all, and he even backed it up. You're the murderer. Stop trying to be slippery and just admit to the crime already. As I said earlier, it's all so circumstantial, so full of conjecture. You say you checked my doorknob for prints? Well, I can readily confess that I had wiped the knob down well. I'm a little obsessive-compulsive, you see. I didn't want it to touch the doorknob that you touched, which is why I wiped the knob clean as soon as I could after you opened the door. After that, it makes perfect sense that only Jim's and my prints would be on there. You made that up just now, didn't you? Furthermore, as for the note Jim left for me, do you know exactly when that was? For all you know, he could have left it there before I arrived at the office. Why would you leave the note on the ground? Like early evening, for example. Are you saying you failed to notice a note in your doorway? Hey, even geniuses fail at times. I was probably too preoccupied by work-related matters, although that's no excuse. It was a work-related matter note. No, that's just a flat-out lie. There's no way you didn't notice a note that size. But you can't prove that, can you? I can prove with beyond a reasonable doubt a normal person would have noticed that note, and that's all I have to prove, actually. Say something, Mr. Edgeworth. Back me up here. Portsman makes a good point. I can't prove that he didn't simply overlook it. Also, there's literally 3 pieces of evidence in his office now. Besides, I have an airtight alibi. Airtight? Oh, you say? I just realized that I had one just now while we were talking. I guess it would have been better for all of us if I had told you sooner. I doubt it's airtight. Alibi. If memory serves, you came back to your office at around 2 a.m., correct? And that was when you had the unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit. Exactly that time, I was down in criminal affairs. Ask around, I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. It's the perfect alibi. Do you really think it's that perfect? Like I said, I don't care. Ask around all you like. You'll see for yourself. Detective Gumshoe. Yes, sir. Sir, yes, sir. I'll go check out his alibi, sir. Be right back. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, I think we're in trouble. It's just like Mr. Portsman said. The guy's down in criminal affairs. They said they saw him at around 2 a.m. At around. Not at 2 a.m. At around. You see? All of the evidence points to him being the culprit. So there must be a contradictory point in his alibi somewhere. Memory serves, he came back at this office around 2 a.m. Did I? You're correct, it was around 2 a.m. Are you sure? It's really important to me that you're spot on with the time. I remember checking my watch then, and make no mistake, it was 2. Oh, giving testimony like a pro. Okay, so you came back to your office at 2. Is that when you had the unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint? As you say, however. Yes, however, you're the only one who claims to have bumped into the culprit. So tell me, did you see the person's face? Was it me who you saw? It was pitch black, so I couldn't actually see. Oh, come on now. I'm sure you saw something. Try a little harder, why don't you? I'm beginning to feel like I'm the one being interrogated here. Well, it doesn't matter if you remember or not. It only matters that you ran into the culprit. Exactly that time. So you paid the Criminal Affairs Department a visit. Yep, right after I left the prosecutor's building, I headed straight for the precinct. It's a perfect alibi. Well, we did go and ask around to confirm your testimony. It was just as I said, right? Yes, sir. A number of detectives said they saw you at around that time. See, I have the perfect alibi. That's the ace I had up my sleeve. Ugh. Possible. He actually does have the perfect alibi. What's wrong? Why the sudden sullen look on your face? Can you say anything back, Mr. Edgeworth? I think we've reached the end of the line. It's time to get off this crazy train. You there. Sir! Please escort the young lady out, but remember, be gentle. Maggie! Detective Gumshoe! Is there nothing I can do? There must be a way to turn this situation around. If only I had a clue. Did I miss something that can help me cast doubt on his alibi? I need to calmly think this through one more time and use with logic. Connect these two. There were 2 bullets left at the scene of the crime. One that robbed Mr. Faith of his life, and one that nearly robbed me of my jacket. However, the murder weapon only shows signs of being fired once, meaning that it is entirely possible that a second gun was used in my office tonight. But seeing as how the killer had to steal Mr. Faith's gun, I doubt the killer had another gun up their sleeve. Therefore, the second gun could have been the property of an entirely different person, which could mean that there was another person who paid a visit to my office tonight. Maybe the victim is. Killers weren't the only visitors to my office. 2 people. Oh my god. Someone else wanted to fucking steal my shit. Supposing there was yet another visitor tonight. That would also resolve the issue of why my shelves were upended twice. We know that the shelves were disturbed once before and once after the murder. So it should have been it wouldn't be much of a stretch to think that it was the work of 2 different people. Once by the person who stole the victim's gun, and then killed him with it. And one again after the murder by our second culprit, who was the owner of the second gun. We suppose that the second culprit's gun was the one that was pointed at my back. This is fucking wild. Objection! Mr. Portsman, it seems that I need to amend my assumptions regarding this case. Great, so you finally come to your senses. Mr. Edgeworth! So what are you saying? This has been a big misunderstanding on my part from the start. I had assumed that the person I ran into was the killer, but that may not be the case. What do you mean? The person I ran into was just your average thief. A thief? But sir, doesn't that cause some sort of contradiction in the facts? Not at all. It simply means that the killer was someone else. It means that in actuality, the two culprits stole into my office tonight. What do you mean, 2? Explains both why my shelves were disturbed twice and how there were 2 guns. Mr. Portsman tricked Miss Bird and gained entry into my office. Now you're just leading the argument. You still don't have any actual proof, you know. If you could please go ahead along with my hypothetical scenario for now, Mr. Portsman. In the end, if you really are innocent, you should have nothing to worry about. Okay. Now then, returning my scenario, Mr. Portsman was out to steal something from me. Which is why he checked my secret safe and ransacked my shelves. This is the first time. So then, this would be when the files were put back in the wrong order, right? Correct. And then, just when he was about to look somewhere else, who walked in but his own partner, Mr. Faith? Why did Mr. Faith come into your room, sir? He probably had business with Mr. Portsman, which is why he was in the area. And that was when he noticed sounds coming from my office, would be my guess. Oh, because you were supposed to be away, right? He must have thought it was odd, so he came into this office to check it out. Correct. And as a detective, yeah, that was the right thing to do. But when he came in, he found his own partner standing there. Because it was Mr. Portsman, Mr. Faith. Probably let his guard down. But Mr. Portsman was not so merciful as to let him leave alive. He waited for a chance and stole Mr. Faith's gun from him, and then put him down. He killed him. He silenced Mr. Faith for catching him in the act of stealing. Is it real gold, though? That was the moment in which the first shot was fired. The one that landed in my files. Following that, Mr. Portsman wiped the gun down and left it behind as he made his escape. He could afford to do that because he had also left the fake dying message behind. He really should have just put it on a different book. You're such a complicated troublemaker, you know that? Well, if things were as simple as that, then all would be solved. However, it doesn't stop there. There was yet another visitor to my room, and this is where it gets complicated. There was another visitor, sir. Yes. The other person's objective was to steal something from me. Now then, even after Mr. Portsman left, the door to my office remained unlocked. However, this new visitor had no way of knowing that, and so they stole the master key from the security guard's room, and then entered my room and searched through my shelves. This was the second time they were disturbed, and it seems the thief found their prize. The stolen O-file, right, sir? Correct. Only just as the thief was about to leave with the file, I appeared. The thief then threatened me with their gun, and made their escape. The second bullet was fired during the brief encounter. So the shelves getting messed up twice, and the two bullets, is because two different people are doing those things at different times. Precisely. Now, do you see, Mr. Portsman? The person I met was just a thief, and was not, in fact, Mr. Faith's killer. Your alibi for the time frame in which I ran into the other person is now irrelevant, because we now know that the murder took place during the first culprit's visit. I mean, can't we just get an autopsy and see, like, when his time of death was? What's so funny, pal? Absolutely splendid. Your scenario explains everything. Of course it does. It's Mr. Edgeworth, after all. But you know, it still doesn't change the fact that it's all circumstantial. Supposing if, that's a big if, your theory's right, it would indeed render my alibi, which has withstood scrutiny, mind you, irrelevant. But there is still one defining point of your argument for which you have no evidence. Your supposition that I was the first visitor. Mr. Edgeworth, you can't let him get away with that, sir. But he has a point. I have absolutely no proof at this point. Don't say that, sir. I don't believe this. Don't worry, Maggie. I'll do something if I must. You know something? I found your attitude to be somewhat peculiar, Mr. Edgeworth. If the person you met really was just a plain old thief, then why is that person not your main suspect? That is, if your theory's correct. Portsman's alibi. That thief you ran into should be your real suspect, wouldn't you say? You should be out there looking for that thief right now. They might still be nearby. I hate to repeat myself, but as I've already said, I was training in my room. And when Jim came to deliver some evidence to me, I was down at criminal affairs. So I can't be expected to know what happened around here after I left. So you think we should just be out there looking for the thief? Of course. Now isn't the time to be wasting on dead-end discussions. I don't think it's all dead-ended. I find your alibi to be fascinating. Let's continue where we left off, shall we? I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I just had to find a way to prove it. Well, I mean, it would be the, he wiped down the safe, because only prosecutors know about that. That thief you ran into should be your real suspect, wouldn't you say? Actually, no, it wouldn't. Why not? That's elementary. The dying message, of course. Mr. Faith's killer very clearly left those letters on the spines of those files. And it was after they were on there that the thief stole one of them. You mean the zero file, right? And that's how we also know the letters themselves were a setup and not from Mr. Faith. If the thief was the killer, do you think they would try to undermine themselves? Yeah. Maybe the killer just didn't think of that either. Yeah, that must be it. Maybe, just maybe. We should be out there looking for the thief right now. They might be still nearby. Once escaped, I highly doubt a thief would linger nearby. Well, you never know. Maybe they didn't get what they really were after. Oh, you talk like you know quite a bit about this thief. It's nothing like that. I have no idea about anything after all. I hate to repeat myself. I've already said I was training in my room. But according to Mr. Faith's note... Hold on, I thought we already cleared that up. Didn't we say that Jim left that note for me in the early evening? Do you have proof that he left it at a different time, say just before he was murdered? I don't have any, no. You see, so I insist again that I was in my office the entire time.
Hold it.
Why didn't you go there with Mr. Faith? Ah, that's because he said he was tired and was going to take a quick nap. You know, those sofas in the hallway, he likes to sleep on those. It's one of his habits. And what did the evidence he brought? There were things related to yesterday's case. Just 2 items, a gun and a pendant. Oops. Interesting. This piece of testimony seems too crucial to let slip through the cracks. I swear to God. Did it happen to be this one? This is like 100%. I need to know about this gun, dude. A gun and a pendant. Yeah, this gun, which was the murder weapon. And this pendant, which belonged to the victim. And why were you taking them to criminal affairs? There's something in a past case file I wanted to compare those two to. But all this has nothing to do with this case right now. Anyway, I believe you'll find the long paper trail I left to be at your satisfaction. This is all matching up with what Detective Gumshoe found out. Oof. Aha. Could it be? Ah. Because... Fuck. Oh. No. He brought 3 items. I'm so glad I fucking checked the note. Oh my God. Only 2 pieces. I believe your proper phrase here is, you fail. Excuse me? You fail as a prosecutor, Mr. Portsman, as you intend to keep evidence hidden from me. What are you talking about? I haven't hid anything from you. Well, here's a piece I think you should read carefully. It says that Mr. Faith was bringing 3 pieces. Yes, and this is the victim's real dying message to you, Mr. Portsman. I can't believe to get tripped by a simple arithmetic. Where is the missing piece of evidence? You have it, don't you? Only the guilty would make such a face. Detective Gumshoe. You don't have to say it, sir. I'll pat the guy down from head to toe. Don't come any closer, I'm warning you. I do like this music, though. This is all part of the investigation, pal. So don't even think about stopping me. No! Hey, what's this? Yeah, this on him, sir. Despite what you said, it would appear that you did have something to hide. But why would he hide something like that? There's only one reason why anyone would hide evidence of this caliber. Because it would unequivocally point to that person himself as the real killer. Let's examine this videotape in a little more detail. For that section of the tape, that will drive the last nail into his coffin. Ooh. Enhance. Enhance. The KG8 incident. That's a police case number, sir. Does that mean this video is evidence from that case? Interesting. However, what's recorded on this isn't what's important right now. Let's give the casing a thorough once-over. Oh. Yeah, okay. He fucking had the evidence on him when he fucking shot him. What a moron. That's blood, isn't it? Yes, and I believe this is what the good prosecutor was trying to hide from us. This blood is still fresh. You mean this might be Detective Faith's blood? We can get that down and we can get that tested at the fucking lab. No, you've got it all wrong. No amount of denial can save you. We have but to run a blood test to find the truth. You told us that you had received evidence from the victim earlier. Now you will tell us when and how did the victim's blood find its way onto this tape. Yeah, it's totally suspicious. Was it at the moment of his death? Did Detective Faith have this video tape on his personage when you killed him? You know very well there's no way to prove that. Not even if we were to examine this tape for fingerprints? If I had to take a guess, I'd say that the only ones on here would belong to the murderous you and Mr. Faith. No, impossible. I'm. Yeah. Did you just fucking eat that? He just ate the fucking metal. March 14th, 5:47 a.m. High Prosecutor's Offices, room 1202. Mr. Portsman has been placed under arrest for the murder of Detective Buddy Faith, sir. Very good. The crest we got back from the lab techs on the tape turned out to be real solid, sir. The blood work came back and it was definitely Mr. Faith's blood on there. As a bonus, they were able to lift a few of Mr. Faith's fingerprints as well. Thank you very much, Mr. Edgeworth. I still can't believe I got to see your cool deduction skills outside the courtroom. I'm impressed beyond words, sir. It was nothing. I'm just sorry you got caught up in the murder in my office. Please accept my apologies. Oh, it was nothing really. Compared to what I've been through, I mean. I consider myself lucky that it was only a burglary and a murder this time, sir. If it had been a hold-up or a hostage situation, I'd have thrown my hands up in the air, sir. I think I'm finally rising up from a goddess of misfortune to just an unlucky person. Something tells me we should have hired a different person for security detail. Yeah, probably. You know something, sir? That Mr. Portsman really was a corrupt prosecutor. And why would you say he was corrupt? Well, I heard that there were a number of suspicious things related to his court cases. There's even rumors about how the evidence he uses is forged, sir. Forged evidence, huh? And they say he even decided not to prosecute a few cases for some very vague reasons. Oh, that guy was a complete disgrace to the entire profession. We never did get around to asking what his reason was for breaking into my office. Yeah, whenever we got near the topic, he just clammed up. Although we can be pretty certain that it was to steal something. It's just between you and me, sir, but there's a rumor that some of the huge organization that is behind the scenes. Oh, well. With Mr. Portsman not willing to divulge anything, it certainly leads credence to that rumor. It would seem that we haven't heard the last of this. Mr. Portsman isn't the bad guy? I didn't say that, but rather that there are still many more mysteries for us to solve. For example, we still haven't figured out the significance of this piece of evidence. Yeah, the fucking safe.
Take that!
I'm sorry, I don't think there's any mystery left to that piece. You might be right there. No, what? Who was going to break into it? I think you already solved that. The only thing left that we still don't know about is maybe this. Yes, no serious file. What'd they want to break into my safe for? Okay, whatever. The significance of which we have yet to comprehend. The person who stole this file, the other villain of the night. I wonder who it was. And what happened to the stolen pages? I wonder, who in the world was it that held me up at gunpoint? Mr. Edgeworth, sir! Yes. I came across this while I was processing your office earlier, sir. This card. What is it, sir? Is that a bird or something on there? It's not just any bird. It's the mark of the raven. A three-legged raven. Even you should know what that is, detective. Oh, it's about that thingy, isn't it? A great thief everyone's talking about. Great thief? Yes, it's the mark of the great thief. Oh, fuck off. What? Yatagar... Oh, yeah, whatever. Yeah, great thief. Oh, fuck that shit. Under the mark of the legendary bird, The whatever that name is noble to the end, and a modern Robin Hood. Labeled mysterious and phantom-like. The... whatever. Can we have a fucking shortened name for this? Appears and vanishes at will. Though we don't know much about this thief's ultimate goal, we do know the targets. They like to find and make public evidence of corrupt dealings of all sorts. The thief has always performed in silence, theft, and always with perfection. Once a target is chosen, no dramatic no dramatic calling card or announcement is sent forth. Instead, the chosen corporation is infiltrated without even the target noticing. Some days later, the evidence was found and is sent out to mass media, along with this single card, although it has been a while since they have last appeared. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, look, something's written on the back. What? Let me see. Location of where the thief put the stolen files. So the person who stole the contents of the file was the Garasu? Sure, whatever. That thing. Organization. Quite a few keywords are popping up in this mystery. Great thief. The murder in my office. That's probably like the last case, right? The return of the great thief. Looking back, I can't say I didn't see these events coming. For they were heralded by the incidents that began to occur 2 days ago. The end. A brand new episode's been unlocked. Turnabout Airlines. Save.